Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Coaster News. And as always, we've got some amazing news from different theme parks, rides, attractions and events all over the world. So let's get straight into the news today. Our top story for tonight, the track for the Voltron Coaster, as it's nicknamed, is currently being fabricated for Europa-Park. And obviously this is absolutely fantastic news coming from Europa-Park and Mack Rides. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, basically the Europa-Park is obviously a theme park located in Rust, Germany, and a little fact you probably didn't know is actually owned by Mack Rides and the Mack family. Mack Rides is obviously a roller coaster manufacturer. They built hundreds of roller coasters all around the world, and in the 1970s they actually decided to build a theme park themselves, which would later obviously become Europa-Park. It's highly regarded as one of Europe's best theme parks, and is home to I believe currently 14 different roller coasters. It's quite a lot of roller coasters in one park. And next year, 2024, they will be officially opening a brand new Mack Rides Big Dipper roller coaster. It's in part of a new Croatia themed land. It's going to be based on Nikola Tesla and his discovery of electricity, and it's actually been sort of codenamed the Voltron Coaster, and it looks absolutely amazing. And obviously it's going to be a heavily themed land as well. Obviously, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the only ride in the area, but it looks absolutely fantastic. And obviously they recently started fabricating the first sort of sections of track for the new roller coaster, and this is obviously fantastic. It's going to be a huge roller coaster. It's going to be a Mack Rides Big Dipper. There's only a few of those operating in the world at the time of recording. At the time of recording, I believe there's only 2 operating in the world. Obviously, with the first one being Lost Gravity at Wallaby, Holland, that was the prototype. And obviously, now that this one's being built, 8 years later, actually, wow. They obviously introducing much more advanced elements, because apparently this new one being built at Europa-Park, I believe, is going to not only feature launchers, but it's also going to have a switch track and a beyond vertical spike, which Mack have never done on their Big Dipper coasters before. In fact, I'm pretty sure they rarely ever do that. I'm pretty sure they've only done a switch track on probably 2 other coasters that I can think of off the top of my head. They've done it on Star Trek Operation Enterprise at Movie Park Germany, and Steel Taipan at Dreamland in Australia. It's absolutely brilliant, and I cannot wait for the Voltron Coaster to open next year. In other news today, the adventure golf course at Legoland Windsor has officially been approved. And obviously this is great news for Legoland's lineup. It makes their lineup a lot more broad. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, Legoland Windsor is a theme park located in Berkshire, England. And obviously it is one of the many Legoland theme parks located around the world. It's the only one in England currently. And obviously it's home to many different attractions, and over the past few years Legoland seem to have been expanding a lot more in their attractions lineup. I believe it all started in 2019 when it had a Haunted House Monster Party, which is a Vekoma Madhouse, and then it just snowballed from there. So 2020 they refurbished the Duel Valley area and added a Duel Dino Coaster, which was their first roller coaster in I think 21 years or something like that. And even though it was only a small tiny kids coaster, it still was good that Lego are building coasters again. And in 2021 they added Lego Mythica, which is a re-theme of the Adventureland area, and it's got 3 attractions, 2 of which are brand new. They've got Hydra's Challenge, and I can't remember what the little drop towers were called, but they're all mythical creature sort of themed. And the main attraction, obviously, of Mythica was the Flight of the Skyline, which was the UK's first flying theatre attraction. And I haven't actually experienced a Mythica, but a lot of people say it is one of the best attractions in the UK ever, and it looks fantastic. And then last year, they added an expansion of Lego Mythical. It's like a little walkthrough attraction called the Magical Forest, I think it's called. I could be wrong with the name, but it's like a little walkthrough attraction, and it looks obviously really cool what they've done with it. And actually, they also recently submitted a plan application. They've got two attractions pending with actually what they're building, from what I know of. There's the golf course, Adventure Golf, and there's the Vekoma Dueling Shuttle Coaster. I believe that was approved some time ago, and they've actually started groundwork on it. And earlier this week, the plans for the Adventure Golf Course were approved. And it's like a golf course. It's very similar to Extraordinary Golf for Alton Towers, but it's like Lego's version of it. And it actually sounds amazing what to do. I can't wait to see what this looks like. Knowing Lego, how creative they can get with their Lego builds, like they could probably build like golf obstacles out of Lego bricks, which would be absolutely fantastic to see. And I cannot wait for this to open. Also in the news today, the former Chief Development Officer of Alton Towers has recently teased the refurbishment of Duel. And we did not expect this, actually, from an Alton Towers official, or a former one, because apparently he's recently retired. But basically, if you don't know what I'm talking about, at the moment, Alton Towers are currently refurbishing their classic dark ride attraction, Duel: The Haunted House Strikes Back. It was originally known as just simply The Haunted House when it opened back here on the 31st of March 1992. It is built by Mack Rides, and it was originally literally just a traditional haunted house. It was designed by John Wardley, and when it first opened, it was an absolute success for the park. And in 2003, they decided to revamp the attraction, renaming it to Duel: The Haunted House Strikes Back. They changed some of the visual effects, I believe, and they gave it laser guns to make it more interactive. And obviously, since then, it's been kind of sort of problematic. People were complaining how it's not as good as the original Duel, and the main complaint being the laser guns take away from the actual sort of scary experience of it. Sure, it makes it more interactive with the riders, but it just doesn't feel as immersive as it once was, apparently. And it got so, and obviously in like recent years, the ride has kind of just left to be in like rack and ruin. Like a lot of the effects stopped working after a while, including the trommel tunnel, which stopped working, I believe, like 6 years ago or something. I actually remember riding it and it was working properly. I'm glad I rode it when I did, because it hasn't worked for many years. And over at Alton Towers, after hearing all these complaints, decided it was time to give the ride a revamp. And the recently retired Chief Development Officer, Mike Fisher, basically teased that the attraction is going to be, when it reopens later this year, I think, it's going to be very much like the original haunted house, and it's going to have the changing all the visual effects to more like traditional sort of Victorian era special effects, like smoke and mirrors and whatnot. And obviously this sounds absolutely amazing. I'd imagine when it reopens in March, or we assume it's in March anyway, we can just say goodbye to the laser guns. Some of the effects, apparently, they're completely changed. Like, not long after it closed, the trommel tunnel was spotted outside of the attraction. So there's obviously taken that out. And the actual, it must be amazing what they're doing with it, because the, like, teasing for it has gone to a whole new level. Like, they've literally, during a Scarefest, they added a sign with a phone number on it, and you could actually phone it, and it played, like, some kind of cryptic message saying that the attraction is currently being like off limits or something like. So obviously it's a pretty big thing what they're doing with Duel, and I cannot wait for it to reopen. And finally, in the news today, Blackpool Pleasure Beach have been teasing the 100th anniversary of the Big Dipper. And obviously, we all knew this day was coming for the past. Well, actually, we've known about it since 100 years ago. Basically, if you know what I'm talking about, the Big Dipper is a wooden roller coaster located at Blackpool Pleasure Beach in Blackpool, England. It was built in-house by the park themselves, and it opened in 1923. And what makes this ride special compared to other wooden coasters at the park is that, I'm going to say it's their first wooden coaster, but it's their current oldest operating coaster. And it was actually the first roller coaster in the world to use upstop wheels. Basically, what an upstop wheel is, like, the train has like a set of wheels that are on three sides of the track. So imagine this is the rail, They've got the road wheel, which is on the top. I think that's what it's called. They've got the guide wheels, which is on the side. But obviously, until 1923, these were all the wheels on the roller coaster. But the Big Dipper, when that happened, introduced the upstop wheel, which are underneath the track, which prevents it from coming off the track when it like goes over an airtime hill. And obviously that was a major innovation in the roller coaster industry. And since then, every roller coaster ever built since 1923 has had upstop wheels. I think it has anyway. Well, I'd hope so, because thousands of coasters have been built since then. And I'd just hope that they'd all have upstop wheels to make it a more safe experience, obviously, and to make it so it's capable of a lot more intense elements, such as like a lot more up and down elements. Obviously, the Big Dipper was the first roller coaster to introduce that, and this year it turns 100 years old. Wow, that is insane. It's one of the oldest roller coasters in the UK. I believe the oldest is Scenic Railway at Dreamland in Margate. But recently Blackpool Pleasure Beach released like a little clip on their social medias, introduced like talking about the Big Dipper's 100th anniversary, and it said like a title over like something's coming. So could there be in like some kind of celebration for the Big Dipper's 100th anniversary, or could like they change something about the rides, like just maybe for this year? We don't know yet. They only released this like video over a day, and it shows a clip from when the ride first opened back in 1923. And obviously it's an absolutely fantastic ride. Some people obviously say it's rough, but that's kind of natural because it's a very old wooden roller coaster. And I can't wait to see what Blackpool do to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Big Dipper. And that is it for this week's episode of Coast News. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, then please make sure to like and subscribe, and comment if you'd like to see in the next video. Bye!